Welcome everyone to the Chompcast, the official podcast of Sword Chomp and SwordChomp.com. Thank you for downloading or streaming our podcast, taking some time out of your busy life to listen to us. And remember, if you're digging the show, please subscribe, leave us a kind rating, share it with your friends, whatever it takes to get the Chompcast name out there. We have an award-worthy show today on the Chompcast as we discuss the Game Awards in all of their glory. As the topic of the show, we are breathing new life into The Legend of Zelda, now that me and Fish are Switch owners. So lots of good Zelda Breath of the Wild talk, which is perfect timing because it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards last night. And that was just one of those magical twists of fate. It wasn't even planned that way. The BioBreak article this week involves a lizard with an evolutionary sex change of sorts. I know that sounds strange, but we'll get into it later. And Shay's almost finished with Pyre, so we're going to have some more Pyre talk.
No, I finished.
Finished Pyre? Okay, even better.
Ooh.
So we're just going to ruin it for Fish, because that's what we do. So that's what hopefully
fine. Ruin it away.
So that's going to be fun. Maybe we can argue about that, because I have some strong opinions about Pyre. And lastly, but surely not least, we did a caption contest on the Sword Chomp Instagram. There's a glorious picture Fish sent us with him holding a giant Galahorn, and I let the Instagram community caption it, and I will read all those amazing captions later because they're fucking fantastic. We have like incredible.
Oh my god! I can't wait! I can't wait!
Incredible community. But let's get into some intros so people can meet the voices who will be talking to them for the next couple of hours here. Zelda-themed intros today, of course. Up first, I actually have a bone to pick with our first co-host from Texas, a man who borrowed my Tingle costume many years ago and has yet to return it. What the hell's going on with that, Fish?
It's literally the best costume you can get in the game, from my understanding.
Hand sewn. I spent a lot of time working on that Tingle costume, Fish. And
yeah, it even has like that nice Tingle nose going on.
that creepy
God. Yeah, it's just a complete costume, and you get so much done with wearing that costume going around town.
Oh, okay, so you use it in your daily life. This is something
It does breathe well. It does breathe well.
Oh,
does it? I wouldn't have guessed that. It's hand sewn. I actually was telling my girlfriend about that a little bit before the show, and she Googled Tingle. So by the way, if you have no idea who Tingle is, Google Tingle Zelda, and you'll be in for quite a treat there.
But you know what's weird? One of those people who went up on stage, I forgot what his name is, but he looks kind of like Tingle as far as like facial features go. I wonder if Tingle's modeled after that guy, because his nose is kind of big. And I was just thinking, creators like to put themselves sometimes in video games. And I imagined like that
who is the inspiration for Tingle? That's what we need to Google. Who inspired the Tingle? It's actually a good point, Fish. Boy, you know what, Fish? When you're done with it, please send it back, because
you might as well just sew another one.
Dry clean it first.
That's my goal for the week now, is to Photoshop some Fish's face into some sort of Tingle picture and get that up for everybody to see. So lately it's been too much love for the Filipino Johnny Depp, too much sexiness and charm, and we need to
knock me down a peg.
Yeah, well, or exacerbate it, depending on how people view the whole Tingle.
Or just peg you.
Yeah. Yeah. That. I like just the
peg it down a knock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to be pegged. I'm sorry, Shay.
God, is Tingle even in Breath of the Wild, Josh? Because I haven't seen him anywhere. I don't think he is.
No, there's stuff named after him.
Okay, well, Tingle has left his imprint on everything in the Zelda universe, as he should. So thanks for being here, Fish, as usual. We'll talk about that costume later. I'll get it back somehow. Up next from Japan, my good friend and a man who will he'll make you tingle in all the right places. So make sure you swipe right. Shay Layton's here. How you doing, Shay?
I'm fucking good, I guess. Guess I'm just
It's a compliment.
making people tingle. I don't know what I do, but I do it well.
You're not a selfish man, Shay. It's what I loved about you. You're there to make sure. You're a people pleaser, and you make sure everyone's happy. So
Something like that.
I'm giving you some credit here, and I'm also carrying the tingle thing on, and also encouraging people to swipe right. So I don't know. I'm not as familiar with Tinder. Is right the correct way for a match?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me because
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, sure.
I don't know about that world.
You can play coy if you want. We know.
And no matter how many times you try and say that you think I use Tinder. That's
right.
Am I just the Tinder guy? Is that all I'm good for? Just Tinder jokes on this podcast?
Where did you meet your current girlfriend?
I met her at a English summer camp.
All right. we'll buy that for the show. But yeah, thanks for being here, Shay. And
You're welcome.
remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the greater Japanese area, swipe right. Up next, my good friend from Michigan, Joshua Fowler's here. And Josh, I messaged you earlier this week. I was looking for some advice. I was playing Zelda, and I was having trouble taming the bear, because in Breath of the Wild, you can tame bears, which is pretty badass, but I was having some issues. So I go to Josh, the Zelda expert, and I say, Josh, how do you tame the bear? And he messages me back, just a trim for the main body, but I like to pluck any hairs that are on the shaft.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to be courteous.
Yeah. You're,
Plucking
Great.
hairs from the shaft? Like, I think that'd be one angry-ass fucking bear.
Well, you can take it in that context,
You don't
too,
want
and
the
that's-
bear to be too calm. It's
You like it a
That's
little,
true.
a little aggravated?
little wild still.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, it wasn't quite the advice I was looking for, Josh, but
Okay.
I appreciate that. I always know that you're trying to. That's the great thing about having Josh as a friend. He's always sneaking helpful life advice into questions that I'm not asking him. So it's always great to have a friend like that. But yes, Josh, I'm glad you are here today. Excited to talk Zelda and other things. I know you hate award shows, but maybe you can pretend to hate them a little less for a little while.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
And hey, if you're a listener out there that also hates award shows, maybe you can identify with Josh, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would agree with you. And of course, I am Morgan Barnes from Big Sky Country in Montana, and I'm excited. I am really excited for this show because it's like a perfect storm here of both Game Awards talk, which is what everyone's talking about in the world today, even though this podcast will go for a couple days, and Zelda, which is one of the biggest games of the year. It won Game of the Year at the fucking Game Awards, and like I said earlier in the intro, that's just the magic of how this worked out. So there's so many different ways we can run with this, but I am really excited to talk the Game Awards first. Let's start with the trailers. I think that's a good place to start because that's where that's what the whole world seems to be a buzz about for the most part, other than the fuck the Oscars moment, which we'll get to later. But first and foremost, we got to talk about that Death Stranding trailer, right? I mean, we got to start there. That's the one. That is the. It felt like in some ways the entire Game Awards was some sort of like weird lead up for us to all get that new Death Stranding trailer. Normus Reed,
Yeah.
It didn't it? Yeah.
It did. Like, Guillermo del Toro and Normus Reedus were supposedly supposed to be there. So, like, that threw up a bunch of, hints that that's what was going down.
What about an enormous reading?
What is it? Norman.
You said
Norman?
enormous Reedus.
You said Norman.
You said enormous Reedus.
You said Normus Reedus. But Morgan initially said Normus as well.
Enormous.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Did I
glad
really?
that
Did I
just
say
carried-
enormous as well?
Weird.
Yes.
God.
Both of you said
You said-
enormous.
You guys caught that. Good job.
Enormous Reedus.
He seemed enormous next to Hideo Kojima. I mean,
Well, maybe. Yeah.
oh god.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'll just shut up for a
that's not
second.
even a
here.
No,
racy
you're fine. You're
joke.
fine. So yeah, this trailer was all about Norman Reedus mostly. There wasn't any Mads Mikkelsen in this one. So another cool lengthy trailer. We don't have to break it down or anything crazy like that. Just if you have a general thought on it, we'll go from there. I will say this as my starting points. I thought that the trailer was really fascinating. It did kind of break my brain though. There's a moment in the trailer, if you've seen it, where the little
would you
baby
know?
gives. Well, yeah, that's true. My brain's always kind of in a state of
Okay. Just-
dysfunction and cataclysmic issues. But yeah, no, there's a moment in the trailer where they go inside of Norman Reedus's mouth, and there's a baby in his stomach or something, and the baby looks at the camera and gives a thumbs up. And that was the moment where I was like, because up until that point I was like, this looks really weird and crazy and dark, but it's a trailer. But that was the moment where I was like, I just short circuited for a second there. And I don't even know how to process that, because it's like, is he putting that in there as a joke for the trailer? Is it just supposed to be a funny joke? Is it actually like, is he like implying something about the actual game or gameplay with that? Like, there's so many interesting ways you can take it. And it's fucking absurd. And I don't care what sort of context you have. A baby giving a thumbs up inside of a man's stomach is patently absurd. So yeah, that was that thing that really shook me, which I thought was otherwise a fairly interesting and gorgeous trailer. What about you guys? Josh, I'll throw it to you first.
We're talking about the game with Enormous Reedus.
Enormous Reedus, that one.
Okay. All right. I mean, it sounds big. I'm expecting big things from Enormous Reedus.
No. It's Norman Reedus.
Okay. All right.
Wait, did I get that wrong again?
Just let Josh
It's
just
Reedus,
ride that
right?
joke a little further. Let him ride the enormous. Let him ride it a little further.
Josh will ride anything enormous.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
He's a size queen.
if given the opportunity.
That's actually a good play into something I'll talk about
Yeah,
later.
queen.
Size queen. Remember that.
Okay.
No, wait. Let's
Making a note
okay,
here.
Yeah, let's wait.
Morgan Barnes.
Yeah, let's definitely wait on that.
There's a
Okay,
caption
it's
somebody left
queen.
on
I'm
Fish's.
surprised Oh, I did see that. I'm surprised that you weren't thrown off by the fact that in the trailer right before, that guy who's trying to rescue the trapped man is killed. He has that little like incubator on the front of his suit with a baby inside of it. That didn't throw you off?
That seemed about par for the course for Kojima. I mean, I played Metal Gear. that was weird, but not thumbs up weird.
Huh.
Intriguing though, right? They're obviously carrying around a life that seems to be of great importance. It seems to be suggesting that it's like either like the last human or like some life of great importance they're trying to take care of.
Something like that.
Are we sure
yeah.
this isn't just a Twins sequel?
Oh no. Wait, is Twins the one with Arnold Schwartz? No, am I wrong about that? Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, yeah.
Okay, God. I'm just old enough to remember that. Half of our audience is just like, what? No, good call, Josh.
It may be.
No, but enormous Reedus. Josh, do you have any thoughts on this trailer in particular, or you just want to talk more about enormous?
No, not really. I mean, I'm one of the few people who just I don't trust Hideo Kojima to really make anything worth playing at this point. So, yeah, we'll see.
That's
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna play it, but yeah, I'm not expecting anything out of it at this point. As much as everyone's
But I ain't
creaming.